Well, yeah. How do we feel about the child support system? It doesn't necessarily have to be directly toward Ye. I mean, if you want to speak on Ye's situation, we could do that as well. But the child support system is not fair, and it's a scam.
It's not. I mean, it's set up for women, particularly. Now, some men, right? Let me give you guys your little piece. Some men do get child support, but it's extremely rare. I believe it's like 85% of women get child support instead of men, and the government actually gets a piece of it. Mm-hmm. So they actually get a piece of that money.
They tax it.
Yeah,
they tax child support.
It actually is beneficial for the government to make sure that men are paying child support, right? And then, of course, if you don't pay, then they'll suspend your license. They can put you in jail, right?
There's a lot of guys in jail because
there's a lot of guys in jail for child support. Like, you can throw a rock and hit somebody, and they're going to be in jail for child support, right? So the numbers that they come up with, I don't like how their calculations are. So you have Kim, who is a billionaire. Is she a billionaire?
She's a billionaire.
Yeah. Billionaire. Kanye, who was a billionaire, right? Who maybe he can get this adjusted now. I just don't understand. Like, why does he need to pay child support? Like, I'm not saying that he shouldn't, right? But if I believe that for a person like himself who is actively attempting to be in his children's lives, and I'm sure that he financially takes care of them already anyway, whatever, without having to have the government step in, I don't see why there needs to be a system where he's paying $200,000 a month for child support.
You have to also look at the law in California. Like,
it's the Cali law.
If you get married in California, their laws are much more strict when it comes to child support. That's why Gary Owen, the comedian, if y'all familiar with him, he got divorced from his wife, and he's from Cincinnati and she's from California, and what's that people who like they hand you paper, you've been served, those type of people. So he didn't want to get served at all. And if he got served, it would have been to his detriment and to her benefit, and because the child support laws would have taken place on the count of the California laws. Yeah. But he ended up serving her, and so the child support was a little bit more beneficial because it was in Ohio. Ohio is much more different than California, and so you have to take that into consideration. So him paying $200,000 is insane, but you also got to think you got married. You should have got that prenup that you was talking about in Gold Digger. You feel me?
Yeah. Like, very, like, okay, if you look at
They did have a prenup.
They did?
Yeah.
If you look at, prenup doesn't have anything to do with child support, though. Right? Because a prenup is protecting my assets from your assets. So if they got divorced, she can't get them from alimony. They can't split assets. Children are something completely different. Most people, or what people are supposed to do, is get married, then have children. So a prenup would not cover them, right? I just don't. Just to me, the numbers just don't make sense. Kim is a billionaire. What does she need $200,000 a month for from Kanye for children that aren't going to see that money? The children aren't seeing that money.
Not only that, there should be a cap on it. Because basically the premise is you however much money you make, a percentage of your money has to go to the children. There should be a cap, and it should be low because it doesn't cost that much to take care of children.
And I understand, like, some people, like, in these arguments, they'll say, well, it's not just financially taking care of them. It's also caring for them, time, the stress, yada, yada, yada. But I'm like, that is not about the child. No, that's you, right? And a lot of that additional stress is based upon the parents. It's about how well the parents work together. But the problem is that you have a lot of women that are bitter in these situations because they're the one usually receiving the child support, and they don't care about the man. They don't care about, what he has to do to make the money, yada, 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 right? And he's still trying to be active. Like, so for example, right, I have a certain amount of money that I pay to my children's mom every month. And in addition to that, I take care of my kids still, right? Like, I buy them, I buy them all kinds of stuff. Literally, my daughter just hit me up yesterday for Robux. Mel,
She
you know
always
Robux.
tapping you for Robux.
Well, and now
she
my
be tapping you for Robux?
Nah. She hit me for Robux.
like she was like, "Hey, Dad, it's the second. I got my Robux a month ago. Can you look into it?" And I said, "Girl, I just sent you Robux 8 days ago." Literally went into the account, screenshotted it, sent it to her. She was like, "Oh, I didn't realize." Yeah, right. So anyway, I mean, not just that, right? I mean, it's just other just little things. Like you just do things.
Yeah.
So it's just like
he's active in his children's lives.
exactly. That's what. Right.
They're
Exactly.
if anything, they're trying to make him less active.
Yeah.
They're punishing him so he doesn't get to see his children or be around his children as much. And they're saying, and because you're not around your children, because we're not letting you, you also got to pay. Why is he paying any child support?
She's a
at
billionaire.
all?
Like, come on.
Like people be like, oh, so what are you saying? He shouldn't have responsibility? Paying child support doesn't equate to responsibility.
It's actually what's supposed to be put into place for people or men that are not taking responsibility.
Right.
So if you decide,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to be around because the woman basically has no choice, which is not true. She has all the choice, but she said, well, the man leaves. Okay, well, you're on child support because you're not being
You're not
active.
taking responsibility.
Right. So I have no problem with a man paying child support if he's not active. Like if he's not yada yada yada.
But
Like,
if he's actively involved, then it's just like we don't need child support.
he was literally trying to get his kids to come to the school. Like he wants to be more involved. So I don't even have a problem with you paying some child support. Like, but when you have people with this type of income, they're both billionaires. Why is he paying child support? Like
because the government is getting that cut.
They gotta get
That's
paid.
200K.
exactly.
They get that
It's
percentage.
it's not about the children. It's not about the parents. It's the government.
And this is the part about Twitter that pisses me off because it's like people just completely ignore all of those facts. And they're like, what, you saying he shouldn't be responsible for his children? Like, what? No, not at all. We're talking about child support. We're not talking about not being responsible for your children. Child support and children actually don't have anything to do with each other
They
most
don't,
of the time.
because most of the time that money's going to the mom or the parent.
And also we also have to like consider that child support is an incentive for women to leave their marriages. Mm-hmm. It's one of the incentives to leave your marriage, because you know that if you leave this man, you're gonna get to take 40% of his income.
Right, child support and alimony.
So it's an incentive. Like, why are
you're
we
not happy.
incentivizing this? If you were to say, okay, and when I say you're leaving your marriage, I mean the women are filing for divorce. So if you were to say, hey, whoever files for divorce, they lose leverage over their children, and there's no monetary resources.
I like that.
If you do that, people will stop getting divorced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're the one that left, so you don't have the right or I won't say the right. You'll lose leverage.
Leverage.
Right.
It's not fair for you to be able to leave me in a marriage and take my kids and take half my money.
That's
crazy.
That's not fair. There's
That
nothing
is
fair
insane.
about that.
Let's
That's insane.
say that the man, he's a good man, right? Works hard, works 60 hours a week, owns a business, yada yada yada. Right? He's got 2 children. He's working. You know, she's a stay-at-home mom. Whatever. Boom, boom, boom. Married 10 years. Right? They meet. She has no money. He's got something going on. Right? So then that would mean that he would have to maintain her lifestyle, which would qualify for her alimony, because every marriage isn't like that. So in that situation, he's busy, he's traveling, he's working, he's faithful, yada, yada, yada. But over time, let's say they got married young. She's 19, 20 years old. Now she's 30. When you start getting older, you go through your 20s into your 30s, you start changing. You start seeing life a little different. So now you got 2 kids, you're seeing life a little different. You know, maybe he was a little older, maybe he's 45. Now you want to be with somebody younger. All of a sudden, you just decide, you know what, I'm not happy. I want to do something different. 30 years old, boom, 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 right?
He's never here.
He's
never
never
spends time with
here.
me.
He never spends time with us. I've got the kids all the time. You know, they're 10 and 11 years old now. So she can literally go file for a divorce.
No fault divorce.
No fault divorce. Like, you know, whatever. And then file for child support and alimony. So then she takes 40%, whatever, 50%, whatever, right, of all of his income. She has the kids, so she has her babies, and literally leaves him with nothing.
Nothing.
He has done nothing wrong to her. For 10 years, he's treated her right. He's taken care of her. He's given her 2 children that they both love, but she's just not happy. So then she is able to go and do all this. But if he does it, he gets nothing. And he loses his kids.
Child support lasts past the age of 18,
If
right?
they're in school, I think.
I don't know the specific.
The only reason why I say that is because my mom, she put my pops on child support. And when we were of age or over 18, it was still happening. But we didn't really get anything because I don't think he was working or anything.
Well, that's like 50 Cent. Like 50 Cent was 21, still getting child support, and he was getting the money. Did you guys see that? With
Yeah,
50?
but yeah, like he was getting money.
Yeah,
He was getting money.
Like,
he was getting like $6,500 a month.
I mean, like, bruh, like you don't even have to work.
And he was like, oh, I was like in New York. He was talking I forget who it was, but he was like, yo, I'm in New York. Like $6,500 a month. What am I supposed to do with that? How am I supposed to
Get a job?
Am I supposed to start over? He was like, do you mean to tell me that that people out there can then like fix their life and start all over with $6,500 a month? He said, yes. $6,500 a month?
A month,
A month?
bruh, you can flip that.
You can go to Cali with that.
Nah,
Yes, you can.
$6,500 a month?
I
Yes,
wouldn't
you
go.
can.
I wouldn't go to Cali.
You can live in Cali on that.
You
$6,500 a
can,
month?
but you can.
You
but
can
it's
live in
stupid.
L.A.
You live in LA comfortably.
That would be stupid.
Why? I
Because
mean,
the cost of living out there is insane.
but
A
imagine-
1-bedroom home is like 900,000, almost $1 million.
Yeah, but this is
I mean, I get the point, but it's stupid.
you could
21
live
years old.
comfortably. in
$2,000
Cali.
for an apartment. It was $2,500 for an apartment. Like that's your biggest bill.
Man.
And then now you'd have an additional
still got
$44,000
$4,000
a
left.
month.
And on top of a job that you can get.
Exactly, correct.
Like if you combine your $6,500 a month on top of a job that you decide you want to get, that's more money. You know, you have so much flexible income.
He's
but,
entitled.
like I would never.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely
Well,
entitled.
because his entire life he was getting
right,
this money.
right, yeah.
Like just move out of New York. Like
Period. He doesn't understand the money.
$78,000 a year on child support.
He doesn't understand money, so it doesn't matter where he moves.
I mean, if you were getting $6,500 a month for as long as you can remember, you wouldn't understand money either.
Right, and whose fault is that?
that's probably his mom's.
His mom's.
Definitely his mom's because
but 50
50.
will
That's
get
what
blamed.
he said. Well, no, that's what he
Oh.
said. He said it's his mom.
It's his mom because he was involved in the child's life. It was trying to be, but now he's listening to the narrative that his mom is painting for him, and now he's in this situation where he doesn't have a good relationship with his father.
can you
Because even when he was younger, he was in like some of the videos and all
Yeah,
that
he
stuff.
kept him
You know,
around,
he
of
tried to
course.
be involved. You know, but that's the reason why separating or having the child support system or allowing the courts to dictate what happens in your family or in your household is wrong, because it divides the family unit. And oftentimes a lot of women who are bitter and they have these negative feelings towards the men, they keep the child away from the man, and that child grows up having this kind of pain towards the father when this father was trying to be involved, but the mother was keeping him away.
Bruh.
And now the relationship that you could have had, it can't be there anymore because you have these feelings and emotions throughout all these years, man. And that's the sucky thing, especially in the black community. It's just like, don't go to the court system. Don't allow the government or don't allow any of these entities to tell you what you should and should not do with your family. Like to me, that is manipulation to its finest.
That's what they want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
They want you. Listen, if he's acting up, come to us. We'll put him on child support.
We'll be your daddy.
We will take
We
care
got
of
you. We got you. Hey, but make sure you give us. We gonna get a little tax cut
Like
out
if
of
you
this.
if you put me if a man is on child support and they're made to be on child support by the government, you could actually probably get more if he was not doing it by the government, right? Because a lot of men will say, "Oh no, you're getting what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh yeah,
this is what you get. Like,
right.
you decided that you wanted to go do this. I would have been willing to give you more or whatever, but no. So you get it every month. You take care of them. Da da da. It makes the man bitter.
Yeah.
Like-
well, let's look at a scenario, right? Because we talked about marriage, but let's look at baby mamas, because that's what it was with 50 Cent. If you get pregnant by somebody who is famous or has money or just a regular guy that maybe has a decent job or whatever, you are incentivized not to marry him. You're incentivized whether you get along with him or not. It has nothing to do with the child. It has nothing to do with legacy, family, or anything. You are incentivized to essentially take the money and do whatever you want. And you're not punished for using the children against this man. You're not punished for lying about anything to get more money. You're not punished at all. You only get incentives, and there's no punishment if you do something wrong or if you lie or whatever. Of course, there's the few cases where women have been caught doing stuff, but let's look at it like holistically. Women can get away with murder essentially when it comes to this child support stuff. So if the government was really about unifying families and having a stronger base, they would not support. What they would say is, okay, you guys had this child out of wedlock. You need to work it out. You need to come to some type of agreement for 50-50 shared custody, right? You would basically force them, be like, hey, you guys have to create some type of family structure. And if you don't, then you're penalized. You're both penalized if you don't do that. That's what you would do. You wouldn't incentivize one person over the other, So the reality is, when it comes to these justice systems and things of that nature, they give the women all the leverage. They incentivize the dissolution of families and the communities as a whole, which gives them greater leverage over society as a whole, because people have they have no foundation.
Talk about equal rights.
Or tell them you don't get nothing unless you was married. What about that?
I mean, this is a different problem, right? We have all these babies out of wedlock. So if you tell them, hey, if you have a baby out of wedlock, you get zero benefits. You're not eligible for any benefits. You would cut down all of these.
Oh man,
they would definitely have more motive to stay in that relationship.
yeah.
Well, they would have motive to stay in a relationship, but they would also have motive not to have an unplanned pregnancy as well.
Right.
Like women. We're incentivizing women to sleep around, get pregnant. What was the projects that COVID used to live in?
Winter Terrace.
Winton Terrace. I was in Winton Terrace. Okay, these are the projects. I'm in Winton Terrace. There's a little girl. She's all of 16 years old, maybe. And I'm just hearing. I'm walking down the street. I'm just hearing her. Yeah, I can't wait to have my babies. I just want to get them out the way, get this child support. Da 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 da. Shoot, I mean, I'm not gonna call no names, but someone very close to us, their baby mama, talk about child support, how much money they can get for each child they have. Like, they're calculating it. And there's people that are saying, nah, women don't do that, but they live in a different world. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They don't see what we see. Like, I have watched women calculate the money they get per child and different ways where they can get more. Because people think, and this is where it gets deep. People think, oh, it's just child support. It's, let's just say it's 40%. I mean, it's not necessarily, but let's just say it's 40% of a dude's income. That's just one form of welfare. That's just one. Then you talk about food stamps. So you get the cash. There's a lot of programs, and I know because I've listened to these women talk about this. Housing programs where rent's $25. Like, they get a lot of support if they work the system. It's not just the whatever they get from the man. And they don't live great lives. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they out here, living these amazing lives, but they can live for free though.
They do it so they don't have to work.
Right. They don't have to work.
And it's so interesting that you have a lot of people who do that, and they want to stay home, and it's just like, well, you could do the same thing if you actually took care of yourself and then actually
cooperated with the man.
You were cooperative, you were feminine, and you actually worked on being a better person, and then finding you a quality man, you can get the same thing. And then live a better life.
It'd be a lot better.
If you want to stay at home instead of staying home on welfare and smoking cigarettes and Newports all day, and having trash all over your house and having to shop at dollar store and eat ramen noodles all day, if you would rather live a better life, you can get the same thing. You can stay home, but you can live a better life if you make some changes. But it's too hard to take accountability for your own life, and it's easier to just say, well, I'll just let the government take care of me.
That's why I've always been very selective with the women that I choose, because especially back in the day, like having those scares of I don't want to get this girl pregnant, because you see the road that people go down is just like, man, I do not want to just get any woman pregnant because you get caught up in that child support system. That's why I'm just like, yo, if I get with a woman and she has my baby, you going nowhere. Yeah. You going nowhere. That ass is mine. Like,
and that's actually crazy, Mel, because the numbers back up what you're saying, because 50% of men in our community are single and childless. So the numbers are actually backing up what you're saying. Men are like,
bro,
we're not getting these girls pregnant.
Yeah.
We're worried.
We are because where the mindset is, and for the women, and the men are showing that, and the numbers say that.
Right. So then what does that also say? The opposite could be true as well. If we decentivize women, then they would be like, whoa, I don't want to get all pregnant now. I'm not getting no benefits. My life's going to be harder.
What it would do is it would then have people put value on them sexually, right? Because right now is devalued. Mm-hmm. I mean, the value. I mean, back in the day, it was hard to get a girl and sex and all this stuff. You had to work. Like you had to put work and effort in.
To have sex?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about just some random little. Okay, where I grew up.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you grew up in.
You said in my experience.
Okay.
Right. I grew up in a very different place than you. Where I grew up, you had to, if you weren't her girlfriend, or I'm sorry, if she wasn't your girlfriend, it was a very bad stigma that she was having sex with you. There was a couple girls. I'm not gonna tell them. I ain't gonna put my business out there. But there was a couple girls that had that rap. One of them was my friend.
Like rap?
They had a bad. They had
a bad rap.
They were
Okay.
a whatever. A reputation.
Okay.
And some of them lived up to that, right? But for the most part, girls were like, nah, we're not having sex. You know, they would go to college as virgins. Like, this was a normal thing. But now, obviously, it's not. It's a very uncommon thing. And if we were to change that, like, you know, as Chris was saying, like, number one, if you're not married, you're not getting all these things. You're not. And to me, it seems like for a society that is supposed to be Christian-based, right? America is founded on Christian principles, and it's a Christian, right? Then it would make sense that they would want marriages. Like, we want you guys to be married and that family dynamic.
I think that's evolved. That's evolved to something that's not even normal now.
Right.
Like, you want to get married?
I don't even listen. When I was going to like church and stuff all the time, I never even heard them talk about this stuff. Like, I don't remember ever growing up and hearing about this type of conversation. Well, number one, you didn't talk about sex at all. I mean, that's some of the biggest issues with our community. We don't talk about it. Well, adults don't talk to children about it. And teach them, like, listen, man, don't, you know, my dad would be like, you know, don't be over here having sex with girls. But what he did say was, if you get her pregnant, you gotta marry her. It's like,
That was probably handed down. Do you think?
It's horrible advice.
Yeah, because
you should be looking to get married and then have sex with them, or whatever the case is. Change but don't just marry her because you got her pregnant.
Yeah, I think that's like that old school mentality. Like, if you get her pregnant, you have to marry her.
This is what we were
Yeah, because you see a lot of that stuff in movies, and then that the man will have some kind of resentment, and it's not like a genuine thing. Like, because a lot of times, like, you be on your way out, like, you know what, I'm not with you, and then she be like, I'm pregnant, and you be like, fuck.
Shoot, a lot of times that ain't even coincidence. Women know, okay, he about to dip out.
And so they make sure
they will get pregnant. They're back when we was coming up. That was a thing. Like, people was like, yo, watch out, them girls will get you. Like, it was a thing. They'll get pregnant by you, because if they want to keep you, they will get pregnant by you.
But at the end of the day, man, like, I mean, listen, because I can take accountability, and, you know, for things that I do. But men, at the end of the day, we know that this stuff isn't going to change. We can't ask women to change, because they get the incentive. So why would they? So it is our responsibility to then say, well, I'm going to use a condom, or I'm going to pull out. Plain and simple. You're not gonna get her pregnant off pre-cum. Ain't no sperm swimming in there. It's just semen. Like it's just the liquid. There's nothing in it. But we have to do better. But the problem is, they
Well,
could
we
just be
are
permanent.
doing better. 50%
Well,
of men are single and childless.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
we are. That's a lot.
Yes, but it could be better.
I mean, okay.
I'm just
I guess.
saying.